Hi, this is Dr. Celeste Barnett, Assistant Principal at San Diego Academy, and I am here with San Diego Academy Counselor Ann Nebolon. And we want to talk to you today about how to talk to your teen about suicide. And Ann, I think I might have been with you when this idea first came to you last fall. I remember that the district had experienced a number of issues and incidents related to suicide. And the district brought in Stan Collins. And you and I went to Canyon Crest Academy when he spoke to parents. And then I know a few days later he came up to the north end to La Costa Canyon and addressed parents. And I remember you and I talking on the drive back up to school that one of the things that really struck us was one of the exercises Stan had us do. He shared, some of the typical information, which was great, about warning signs and that kind of thing. But he actually had us do something. What did he have us do that night?
Yes, and I felt like that activity was the missing piece. And what he did is he had the parents, the people in the audience, turn to each other and practice asking as if you were asking your own child about suicide. And I thought, yes, we need to do that. I know it's an uncomfortable topic. It's a scary topic, but I think the more we start talking about it and asking the hard questions, the more we're going to know what's going on and we can help our teens in crisis.
And you and I are both parents, and unfortunately we've had experience at school, probably too much experience asking these questions. But if I had to do this with my own child, I can 100% understand why that would be nerve-wracking and emotional and anxiety-provoking for me. And I think a lot of it is there's a myth around that. I think a lot of people believe. It makes sense. It's kind of intuitive, but it's wrong, around talking to people about suicide. What is that myth?
Yeah, that is so true. The myth is that if you talk about suicide, you're going to put those ideas in their head and then they're going to do something.
Right.
That's not true. The fact of talking about it decreases the chance of it happening, because think about it, if your teen is walking around with this on their minds and in their hearts, and they are struggling and they're feeling that bad that they're thinking of ending their lives, and then somebody notices, they ask, they want you to ask. I have never in my over 20 years as a school counselor, have I ever had a negative reaction to asking the questions. They do get scared. They're really scared because they're like, oh no, what's going to happen now? But if I remain calm and I really listen and I explain what's going to happen, so there aren't surprises, and that they feel heard and supported, it's always been a good thing. So asking the questions is not going to cause it to happen. Asking the questions is going to provide relief and the opportunity to get them the help they need.
I think that relief is a key factor. I mean, the feeling, the intense emotions that they're feeling, it's not going to get rid of in the moment, but it does alleviate the weight of the secret.
Yes.
The weight of the secret can be equally debilitating. And sometimes just knowing, oh my gosh, I don't have to hide this anymore. Somebody else who's feeling stronger than I am at this moment is going to be able to help me, can help get over that initial speed bump.
Yeah, and if they see that you are not overreacting, you're not freaking out, you're just listening, and then of course in your head you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, I'm super scared, what am I going to do, I can't believe this. All that will be going through your head, but you're going to show them, I'm listening, I'm here, and I'm going to get help.
You're not alone. We'll get through this together.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's what provides the relief.
Yeah.
So I want to start with warning signs, because it's good to know these things and to pay attention. It's really paying attention, because sometimes kids will open the door a tiny crack and say something small to see if they get your attention or get a reaction. They're afraid to open the door wide open because that could be really scary. So pay attention to a possible crack in the door. And what I mean is they might say something as serious as, I'm going to kill myself. Well, there you go. The door's wide open. They just told you They might say, I wish I could just fall asleep and not wake up. I
Mm-hmm.
hear that one pretty commonly. And then I also hear, I just don't care anymore. And where that sounds kind of mild, like, okay, you just don't care anymore, that could be opening the door a crack. And so anytime I hear any type of statement where they sound down on themselves, low self-esteem, depressed, hopeless, anything like that, I am going to ask the questions.
Sometimes a related comment I hear sometimes is, I just can't take this anymore.
Yes.
Right? I can't take, it's too much. I can't keep
Yes.
going like this.
That is super common too. And whereas that can mean like I'm just overloaded and stressed out, it can also mean like I'm so overloaded and stressed out, I'm not going to do this anymore. And they're having suicidal thoughts.
I need some relief, and how
Yes.
far will they go to get that relief? Right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then they might talk about feeling hopeless or alone. Those are big warning signs. Because if your teen is feeling hopeless or alone, they're going to feel like there's nothing that can be done. Suicide notes, including, and mostly especially online posts through social media, is critical to pay attention to. That's how we get most of our information, is somebody coming to us saying they heard it or saw it on a social media site. Parents will report that to us. Students report it to us. It's huge right now. So you do have to pay attention, especially if your teen is showing signs of sadness, depression, hopelessness. They're alone. All they're doing is they're on their phone doing social media. It might be worth a conversation.
And right now, I know the apps change, in their popularity, but I would still say that Snapchat, because it's temporary, is the most commonplace, and it's hard for parents to monitor that because we don't. And a lot of students have, if they have Instagram, they have a public and a private account.
Correct.
And so it's not something necessarily that the parent is going to see themselves, but they may hear from a friend of their child that they posted something that worried me. That's what comes to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Changes in behavior can be shown through appearance, through some of their thoughts and feelings, even their attitude. If all of a sudden they've got a bad attitude around home, or they're like throwing, words out at you and being disrespectful. And if that's a change in behavior, that's saying something. Emotional distress, they're crying, they're depressed, definite warning sign. It could be increased use of drugs or alcohol. They may be trying to self-medicate, trying to see if they can calm the thoughts down or mediate the feelings using drugs or alcohol. So if that comes in the picture.
I'm putting air quotes, just an increased use of vaping.
Oh,
nicotine.
Absolutely.
I mean, nicotine is one of the ways that they try to numb out.
Yes. And then, of course, anxiety, anger, stress, depression. Stress, there's a direct correlation between increased stress and anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts. So all these things are important to pay attention to. Anger, too. If anger is unusual, sometimes fear is expressed through anger. They might give away prized possessions. You find out they've given away some of the things they used to love. Pay attention to that. Acting recklessly, risky activities, that's a no-brainer. That says something. And then, of course, withdrawing or feeling isolated is the obvious one.
Yeah.
So if you're worried, you just need to ask. Here's how to start the conversation. I'm worried about you. You seem really down and unhappy. What's going on? How can I help? And that's your time to just stop, sit back a minute, let them think about the question, let them process it a little bit, because they're going to think, oh, how much can I tell them? What should I do? You might repeat, how can I help? I want to help you. I love you. I will do anything to help you. And you remain calm. Your voice stays calm, even though your head might be freaking out. You keep your voice calm and just say, I will do anything to help you. I love you. What's going on? How can I help?
And probably you're such a master in this. I've seen you do this a number of times, and I want to to jump in and fill the silence. And
Yes.
I'm learning to model what you do, which is to allow that uncomfortable space, to just keep, like you said, if you need to repeat something, repeat. You seem like you're in pain.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that. What's going on? And then to let that silence be there and read the body language. Right?
Absolutely. Because if you keep filling the silence, they don't have a chance to even think about what you said. So if you stop, the other person is going to try to fill the silence, and that's what you want. You want them to fill the silence with whatever thoughts and feelings are going on. You can also say, what are you thinking? What are you feeling right now? And see if that kind of helps. In a low tone of voice, calmly and not in a hurry. So be sure to really listen and give them the space and time to talk. So here's the questions then. You start there, you kind of see what's happening, and then you want to ask, have you thought about hurting yourself? Well, hurting yourself can mean more than just suicidal thoughts. It can mean self-injury. Maybe they're doing something like that. So you just want to ask, and if they say no, then be like, okay, are you having suicidal thoughts? You might have to go more specific. And if they pause a long time, it probably
yes.
means yes. But it also means let them pause a long time. And then maybe ask again, are you? Because if so, I'm going to help you. You want to let them know it's going to be okay. But you also want to say, what are the thoughts you are having? Because you do need to find out how serious are those thoughts. Because I've talked to kids and they've said, oh, sometimes I think about it, but I would never do it. I love my family too much. I know I have things to live for. Well, that's a good response, because that's saying like, okay, maybe they're dealing with some depression, but it's not that bad yet. They might also say, like, I've asked kids and they've just, right out the door start telling me all the thoughts they're having. And they're really scary. They scare me that they're having these kinds of thoughts commonly and kind of immediately. So if they're having a lot of thoughts around suicide, you also want to ask them, have you thought about how you would end your life? If they have a plan on how they would do it, that immediately increases the urgency and the seriousness of the situation. That means they have planned out how they would do it. Most kids don't go that far. They're just having suicidal thoughts, which can be kind of common, especially if they're having a bad day. It's how far those thoughts go. So you have to ask these series of questions. If they're very adamant, they're like, no, I would never. Okay, you have to just go with it and just, okay, whatever they tell you. And go back to, but I see you being unhappy and sad. And so let's figure out what we can do about that. Because no matter what, if you have enough concern that you're asking, there's got to be some follow-up to that.
So what you're saying is we start with the first two questions of have you thought about hurting yourself? Are you having suicidal thoughts? If there's any indication, whether it be body language, facial expression, or a verbal response that suggests that they have or they are, then it's really important to find out if they have a plan or even a method.
Yes.
Like, this is where you don't want to plant the seeds, but some of the things that they might say are, I have pills, or I know where I can get a gun, or if they have access. So it's if they have a specific idea of how they might do it, that's a whole different ballgame than just generalized thinking of I need some relief to what's going on. And then the next thing is, and you will know as the parent, do they have access to those means? Is there a gun in the home? Are there pills that they might have been stockpiling? That kind of thing.
Yes.
And then it's a whole nother level, and we'll get to that about
Yes.
what you do.
And that's where you go. You don't, as a parent, you don't have to take it all the way.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to find out enough
Okay.
to know what kind of help do they need next, because
Got
the
it.
next part is you're going to be seeking out some help.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, do whatever you do, try not to overreact.
Mm-hmm.
Don't freak out. Stay calm and listen. It's not a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get all the answers to these questions right now. Boom.
Okay.
This is it. Take your time and take what they give you and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the questions. So at any time, be sure to add, if there's a big long pause or they're looking at you and they're starting to get upset, I'm here for you. I love you and will help you through this. If they say something you're not sure what to do about it, say, I'm not sure what to do about this. I'm going to find out, and I'll let you know what's going on.
But I'm not going to leave you alone.
Never.
We're gonna work through this together. That's the message over and over.
There you go.
You're not alone.
Yes.
We'll figure it out.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Don't be in a hurry to get the details. I seldom ask for details because it isn't the details unless they have a plan.
Yeah.
But it isn't like, did something happen to you? What happened to you? Did you break up with your relationship or something with a friend? It's not that.
Okay.
It's how are they feeling in this moment?
Okay.
Details can come later.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking to see how serious is this situation. What do I need to do as a parent, as an adult, to support my child?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, silence can allow them to process their thoughts, and almost more importantly is to see that you are truly listening and you're not overreacting, because they think you're going to flip out and overreact. So don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Show them you're calm and you're going to do what it takes to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Never leave them alone until you know they are safe. So especially if they say, yes, I've been feeling suicidal. Yes, I've had suicidal thoughts. Don't leave them alone. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's next? You may need to get them immediate help. If you're put in a position where you cannot leave them alone, I would say you want to take them directly to a hospital emergency room. Mm-hmm. If it's late, which is 24 hours a day.
Right.
If they won't go with you and you're just really worried, you can call 911. They are there for your immediate safety. And when you say it's your child, they go to the top of the priority list.
Well, and one thing that I don't think I knew as a parent until I started working in schools is that the police departments and sheriff departments have a psychiatric arm of their force.
Yes.
And they're trained. They know how to deal with this. This is what they do all the time. And when we need to call, it's called the PERT team. When we need to call them to come to school, they're very good at talking with adolescents about this. It's not about arresting anybody. That's not what it's about. It's not that they're in trouble. It's that they need some immediate assistance.
Exactly. So don't hesitate. If you're not sure what to do and things are not going well and you're really scared, call 911. Mm-hmm. You can also, if it's the right time of day and you feel like you could get in contact and it doesn't feel immediate, you can call your family doctor or medical insurance for a referral. Mm-hmm. But don't be afraid to go to any hospital emergency room too, because they will help you and at least at that moment, you know they're in a safe place and you're moving forward getting help. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is you got to do something. You want your teen to know that you take them seriously and will do anything to help them feel better. Mm-hmm. So this last slide, we wanted to share with you that many of our families will use the following places for immediate help. Aurora Behavioral Center does free assessments. They will do intake assessments. Sharp Mesa Vista Hospital does the same thing, and they specialize with teenagers. Rady's Children's Hospital does the same thing. Those three are 24-hour accessible, just like any emergency room, hospital emergency room. And then UCSD has a hospital program also for teens, and you can call that number and just express to them what the concern is. Mm-hmm. So what's nice is they will do this assessment for free for the most part. If you and I wouldn't hesitate to go do that. You may want to take a moment though and see how your insurance can cover the supports and the programs and stuff, because some people might be connected to Rady's Children's Hospital or the local emergency room. You can always start there.
So with all your years of experience as a school counselor and the numerous suicide protocols that you've done with students and all the parents, families you've supported, what do you hope families who are hearing this take away from the last few minutes?
Well, I hope that this helps you have the confidence to ask the hard questions, the uncomfortable questions, and then know the next steps for getting some help.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Anne.
And thank you.